one question that I got wrong on the midterm was how would you calculate the monthly transfer needed for your service or app? And I picked to do this question because I just left it blank because I did not know this the day of the midterm. The answer is to find the monthly transfer you would need to take the average page request. So you would take the average page request and times it by the users by month. All right. So some research that I did on here. The best way to basically get this is basically first when you're planning for your server architecture, you must plan for the future in addition to the present. Finding an effective balance between cost, complexity, and capacity can be a big engineering challenge. So, a big thing that you would need to do is basically simulate a lot of people on your page at one time. So, you need to determine how much traffic or how many visitors your site can handle. Usually, you can do this by running a load test that simulates a certain number of users accessing your site at the same time. Then reports how fast your site servers web pages to those simulated users. So you have to figure out a way to simulate a lot of traffic. Like your site with, I don't know, if you don't like usually get maybe 1,000 users at a time per day, maybe that's something that you can simulate because if you're like a small business, you don't usually get that many people, so you can try that first just to see, how well your site works. Like, does it break or what? Like I said before, finding an effective balance between cost and complexity and capacity is a challenge. Um, when you're planning, some questions that you should ask is like, how many users are going to be on the site? How many concurrent users will you have? How many peak users will there be? How many gigabytes of disk space would you need? How many gigabytes of server RAM? How many gigabytes of transfer would you need? And the next thing that you would need to do is basically calculating visits per hour and how long the visit duration is. So you can do that by using Google Analytics, their tool. You can just sign up for their tool, it's free. And then go on there and I guess you type in your site name, or usually I think you include the link on your page. So I think that's how they get your information. And then you can use their tools to actually find what you need. So when you use the Google Analytics report to find visits per hour, you need to adjust the range in the top left corner of the Google Analytics dashboard to select basically a busy day of the week. Once you've done that, you'll see a breakdown of visits per hour for that day. After that, step 2 would be determine the average visit duration. So this data that you get is on your Google Analytics dashboard. You have to add the widget though. It's called average session duration. The only thing you would need to do after that is convert it to seconds. So then you multiply by 60. So once you've located peak visits per hour and the average of it, the visit duration is in seconds. So you calculate the concurrent users by the hourly visits time visit duration and you divide it by 3,600. So for your monthly transfer needs, you would need the average page request times users per month. But for daily concurrent connections, you will need users per day times average duration of visit. And then you can take that and times it by the peak number of users. And then you can take the what you just times, which would be the users per day times average duration of visit times the peak number of users. You will get your concurrent connections per day. That will be the users per day times average duration a visit times the peak number of users divided by the number of minutes per day. And that's how you can get your daily concurrent connections.